morning, good morning, good morning. It is early. I'm in New York currently. My dog got me up early. It's 8 now, so it's not that early. But I decided to come and sit outside, get some air, do a little breathing and Kundalini this morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I was gonna pull some cards, but I realized I didn't have any handy, so I'm not gonna pull any cards this morning, though I just saw my sister log in, so she may come down and bring me cards, but no pressure. We don't need them. I just thought I would hop on here live. I didn't go live last week, because I've just been taking some time for me. And this is such an important reminder, especially as we move into the week ahead, that it is okay to take time for yourself. We are entering into a full moon this week, and with full moons, it's really time of completion, of endings, of cycles coming to a close. And I know for me, I've been feeling that a lot in my life. And when I talk about cycles closing, for me at this moment, and for what I'm seeing collectively with a lot of clients as well, these are multiple year long timelines closing, things that have come to completion. I have been posting in my stories, if you've been watching my stories, that I'm home in New York right now at my family's house, and I was going through all of my boxes that I've made over the last few years. I've put 6 boxes to the side of my things. And over this weekend, hi love, I decided to go through the boxes. I always knew I wanted to get it down to 3. And this weekend I was able to do exactly that. And in doing so, I was going through photos and journals and just printed documents from elementary school through middle school and through high school, and a few things from college. And it allowed me to really peel back the curtain on myself. I think sometimes we can forget exactly who we are as we grow, right? The authentic self disappears a little bit. The culturally created self takes over. And I was able to come back to myself. So this feels like something to share. If you have an opportunity, if there are things your families have kept or things that you've held on to since you were younger, take some time to look back. Take some time to remember. Hi, Giselle. Yes, literally the best little run around backyard. I love it. Take some time to go through that old stuff, to remember parts of you, to remember who you were before X, Y, or Z happened. So often when we think of timeline work, we may think about timelines from another lifetime, when in theory we can clear timelines here from this lifetime. Okay, so something I shared about over the last year is the butterfly effect. In the last few months, the butterfly effect, and how that movie touched me when I was younger, because my boyfriend at the time, who has since passed away, had told me that the Butterfly Effect movie reminded him of us. And my senior year of college version of self was like, oh my God, the Ashton Kutcher movie reminds my boyfriend of me. And I went and watched it with girlfriends, and it was like, why would you want that movie to remind me of you and you of me? Because if you haven't seen the movie, spoiler alert, Ashton Kutcher wants to erase the memory of him from his girlfriend, and for him to erase the memories of her, because he doesn't want to mess up her life, essentially, is what's going on. So anyway, I never really understood why Jeff wanted that for me. And then, of course, he died. And a few years ago, I rewatched the movie. And now I'm in a place in my own healing journey where I've been coming back to this 16-year-old version of myself, which is who I was right before I met him. And all of these things are coming back of who I was, and my innocence and my playfulness and my purity and my just like this soul that I was before I had let him in. And it's not that he was good or bad. He was the experience I was meant to have. And it's also okay for me to now clear the grid lines, clear the timelines of the choices I've made in the past to choose the choices I desire to make currently as well as in the future. Does that make sense? So we have these opportunities to clear these timelines from this lifetime. So I was going back into photos from my summer away when I was at 15, and just like remembering who I am as I was also clearing out. Oh my God, Lauren, me too, my 14-year-old self, and clear some traumas I overlooked, right? Yeah, it's so beautiful about us and our abilities to heal and to simply move forward. So how do we know we've cleared? Listen, I think there's different layers and different processes we get to go through with clearing, whether we're doing it on our own or we're doing it with the support of someone who does energy work. It's simply having this awareness, like, okay, I feel through this. I feel like I'm done now with this timeline or cycle. And the thing is, like, it will continue to show itself until it's ready to be fully cleared. With that said, my belief is at this moment, as we're going into this next full moon, collectively, there are a lot of timelines and grid lines, there are a lot of timelines and grid lines that are clearing. So we're always supported by a full moon energy. We're always supported by a full moon energy. And I think it's sometimes as simple as, have I cleared what needs to be cleared? And asking yourself that, right? Have I cleared what needs to be cleared? Is there something further I can do? Asking that to your grown-up self, your adult self, if you're dealing with the inner child or teenage version of self, like asking that version of you. Is there anything else I need to do in this moment to support this clearing that I am ready to create? Is there anything else I need to do in this moment? And if you hear no, then right now it's a no. It doesn't mean that in time there won't be a yes. And it also doesn't mean that in time, like, that might just simply be fucking complete for you. That just might be complete for you. So as I'm also writing, as many of you know, I also found papers from elementary school and middle school, papers that I wrote. I don't know why they were saved, but they were. And I continued to save them. And I guess I continued to save them until I was ready to step into my role as a writer. I needed to remember that I was a writer and that I get to be a writer, period. Because sometimes we feel so disconnected from these things we're desiring to do. And like, oh my God, turns out you've always done that. You've already done that. I found this journal with the funniest stories that I used to make up and poems and all these things. But I didn't really remember it. I didn't really remember it from when I was a kid because life took me away from so much of myself. Because that's the path I chose, right? There's nothing to blame. It's simply the path I chose. And I get to come home to myself. I get to come home to this version of me who remembers that I am a writer, who remembers that I am so much more than this human experience. This live is so perfect, divinely timed. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. My sister did bring down some cards while I was chatting. So I've got a few decks here. So I'm going to pull some cards. Not too many, because I think, again, right, like that maybe this was all that needed to be said today. Perhaps this is all that needed to be said today. And I trust that. With that, I will pull some guidance, affirmation, and transformation from the Gaia Oracle. How can we support ourselves further in this week of the full moon? What is it that the collective needs to know and hear right now to be supportive of what is ahead? I love this. Okay, so we've got 2 cards here. 4-4 has been with me like crazy, the number 444. And of course, we've got this full moon over the ocean of eternal love, healing, creativity, and fertility. So these are the messages coming through. So for many of us, as we're going into this full moon, there is a lot of healing happening. So again, that's going to look different for each of us. Like for me, that looked like I'm going to go through these boxes from my childhood and I'm going to throw away a lot of stuff that I held on to for a long time. Like I had this clay dinosaur I made in elementary school. Not that big, just like this big clay dinosaur. And I've held on to that dinosaur for a really long time. Like I'm 40 years old and I've had this dinosaur since elementary school. And I decided I was going to throw it away. And my mom came downstairs as I was throwing stuff out and she was like, "Oh my God, are you getting rid of that dinosaur?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then it actually made me question myself. So I put it off to the side. Like, maybe I don't want to put it away. She said, like, put it on a shelf. Like, maybe it would be cute on my bookshelf that has, like, all these random things. And then ultimately, before I threw out the next round of stuff, I put it in the garbage. Because I am ready to let go so I can ascend further into the next phase of my life. And the thing is, when we do that, it also creates shift for those around us. So it's going to create some level of shift for the people in this space right now, for my mother, for my sister at this moment. My dad's not here right now, but it will likely create some shift for him as well, because this is the home that I grew up in. So we create these shifts, right? So the healing also allows in more creativity. And of course, this fertile time around the full moon, fertile with ideas, fertile with new life for some of us, fertile letting you know, like, hey, if you've been questioning, like, can I have children? Like, you are safe, you are trusted, you are divinely supported. Like, allow yourself to step into this ocean of eternal love. Allow God to hold you. Allow the universe to support you as you make the choices that you are choosing to make in your life for your highest good. Because the truth of the matter is, no one will understand them. No one will understand them. If you let people in, people can support you and love you and cheer you on. But no one will necessarily understand the struggles that you need to go through in order to get to where you're going. No one will understand the struggles you need to go to in order to get to where you're going. You can only simply explain and share with people what's going on, and they can support you. And if you don't feel they're going to support you, you don't have to fucking explain shit to anybody. Wow, Lauren, I'm mind blown. Is this my personal reading? I guess so. Is anyone else? Who else is this hitting for? So then we have this message after. Intuitive communication. Intuitive communication. Silent whispers of the heart. So your heart is speaking to you. You are tuned in with the universe. You are tuned in with the great universe and all that it has to offer you. We can simply listen to the silent wisdom within ourselves. My sister just said it's like yesterday's car ride without the tears. I often, when I'm in the car with my sister, that's the time I always decide to have some pretty honest conversations. That's how I'll put it. Pretty honest conversations. If you ever need to have an honest conversation with a family member and you need them to stay put and you and you need to get your point across, do it from a loving place in a car when they're driving. And then they get to hear it and process through the movement. At least that's what works for me. Try it out, see if it works for you, or your loved one may just pull over and kick you out. From the moment you came on, hitting a so hard, spot on, from cleaning and clearing to creating. Beautiful, beautiful. In a car, noted. Yeah, cars are great for singing, like for releasing our own shit, and then also for giving space for others to do that as well while in movement. Always get my grown kids in the car. Yeah, you just gotta trap them sometimes. With love, of course, with love. Let's see if there's any other cards here that want to come out. I'm feeling this one. Okay. So if you have been in a space of feeling like you're on the search, feeling lost, confused, or lonely, again, I want to reiterate what I just said. Like, we get to choose how lonely we want to be. We get to choose how lonely we want to be. We can choose to let people in on the experience that we're having, or we can choose to be alone in that experience. And like, loneliness isn't a bad thing. It's, to me, and I talked about this in a post, it was brought up last week in Monday's Glow Up Call, like, being lonely simply means we're creating more space. We're not filling all of our space. We're not filling the noise with other people's opinions, with friends, with parents, with lovers, with loved ones, etc. It means we're simply taking space so we can have that intuitive communication, so we can really hear ourselves. So we can really hear ourselves. So if you're in that space where you're like, I feel lost, I feel confused, I feel lonely, like, first of all, I see you, I honor you, and I get you. Sometimes the universe simply wants to bring us the element of surprise. That was something I was so uncomfortable with for a long time. I had like this fear of surprise parties because I had a surprise party ruined for me in elementary school. And I had to go back and kind of rewrite this. Like, no, I don't hate surprises. I invite the element of surprise into my life. I invite the universe to present me with surprises. Surprises are always welcome. Surprises excite me. Oh my God, the universe is sending me a surprise. I have no idea what it is, but I can only imagine it's going to be amazing. The universe always has the best surprises. The universe never ever fails when surprising me with something I didn't even expect was possible. So moving into that energy as well, can you move into that energy of the universe is surprising me? And like, through that loneliness, find peace, knowing that you are always taken care of. You are never alone. And if that feeling of confusion or lost is here, it's simply because you're moving through something you've never moved through before. I like to kind of see it as a dark forest. Like, okay, I'm back in the dark forest, I'm going for my walk, but I always know the ocean of holy love is on the other side. I always know the river of life is there supporting me. These are holy fire Reiki experiences. For those of you that don't know, I know quite a few of you here are Reiki trained. So I always know, like, hey, the river of life is around the corner. I can drink out of that anytime. I will never die of thirst. I will never starve out here in my loneliness. I will always find myself on the way back home. I will always find myself on my way back home. Okay, let's pull one more card. I don't feel called to do too many. I think, the messages, the cards are beautiful tools, right? We love a card. It's such a great tool. And with that, like, even before I started pulling cards, what wanted to be shared wants to be shared, and it would be shared with or without the card. So I will give one more though, because it does feel aligned. This is one of my favorite decks. As always, divinely led here today. Thank you for your inspired speaking. You are so, so welcome. Thank you for tuning in. So much vulnerability in that. Yes, there is. There truly is so much vulnerability in truly letting go and letting God. And just to be clear, when I talk about God, I don't talk about God from a religious place. As a matter of fact, like, for those of you that don't know, I didn't grow up in church. I didn't grow up in church. I didn't grow up with like deep conversations about God. I grew up in a Jewish household where my real relationship with God was when I went to temple on the high holidays. Outside of that, I didn't have a relationship with God. It wasn't until my ex-boyfriend, not the one that passed away, guys, I got stories 4 days, got arrested in my apartment. And when he was arrested, I found myself like on my hands and knees unbeknownst to me, talking to God for the first time. Like, that's where I started to find God. And then I found God in yoga classrooms, and then I found God in nature in California, and then I found God through Holy Fire Reiki. Like, God is not simply limited to being inside of a place where you pray. God is everywhere. God is in you. Like, if I am made in the likeness of God, God is in me. God is in me. God is in each and every one of us. There is no disconnect from yourself and God. I was recently talking to someone who said, like, you have to talk to Jesus if you want to talk to God. And I asked why they felt that way. And they study, they're very into, I want to say Catholicism, because that's the easy. They study the Bible. Excuse me, I couldn't even say that out loud. They study the Bible. And what she said to me is that she goes to Jesus because Jesus sits at the foot of God. So if you go to Jesus, then Jesus will talk to God on your behalf. My feelings are, and I'm not saying she's wrong, I'm not saying I'm right, I'm just simply saying my experience, my feelings are, if Jesus told me that I am Jesus' brother and sister, right? Like, we are the brothers and sisters of Jesus in this lifetime, because we are all God's children. And if Jesus said, I have the ability to be a great healer just as Jesus is, and not only can I be a great healer, but I can even be an even better healer, not saying I am or I'm not, simply that's what Jesus said, that we have the ability to be our own greatest healers, then why is it that I would need to talk to Jesus to go to God? It doesn't mean that I don't talk to Jesus. It doesn't mean I don't have a connection to Jesus, but it simply means, like, if I want to talk to God, I don't need to go and talk to someone who's then going to go and talk to God for me, because there is no disconnect between me and God, because God and I are one. Does that make sense? Yes, exactly. Yes. We don't need someone to run the middle ground. Because could you imagine if everyone in this world was like, oh my God, I got to talk to Jesus today, so Jesus could then go speak to God for me? Like, why are we not just talking to God? Even if 50% of people talk to God and 50% talk to Jesus and then Jesus talk to God, like, it's going to take up less time. Like, let's just solve the issue by going directly to the source. Let's solve the issue by going directly to the source, with the source being God. And again, like, this is my feeling. This is my opinion. I love that it's resonating with others. And if you're someone that wants to talk to Jesus, then talk to Jesus. This is why I fuck with you, preach it. We don't need the middleman. Yes, that was very much a part of patriarchal structures of religions. Yes, we are part of source. Exactly. There is no separation. There is no separation. Oh, you guys, you are my people. You are my people. Go direct. My late mama used to say that. I love that. Beautiful. I'm sure she is here today also, like, having me just drive that home as well. That's how I feel. That's my truth. And it feels good to live in my truth. I see one of my mentors on social media. Her name is Sophia Spallino, and she is a lesbian, and she is really, like, out there sharing about the community during Pride Month. And I am a supporter of all people, period, because we are all God's children, and that is my belief. We are all God's children. And I wrote that on one of her posts, and I got some comments back from people who are very rigid in their use of the Bible and the Bible terms, and it needing to look and be a specific way. And it was almost like whoa, like eye-opening to me, because I didn't grow up with the Bible in that way, on, like, from the Bible Belt of the world. I didn't grow up with that. So when I saw it, I decided to engage in conversations with people that were commenting back to me. And never did I get upset. I simply held space for their experiences while also holding space for mine. Because no one's right or wrong. It's simply the experience you're choosing to have in this lifetime based on your knowledge. So if your knowledge is only church and that's what you believe is right, like, that's okay. And I also would love to give you an opportunity to open up to think in other ways. Again, it doesn't mean my way has to be right or wrong. It's just we're here to help people open up and think in new ways. Okay, I digress. Let's read this postcard. Dear wonderful you, intimacy is scary at moments. It means you have to let someone else get to know the real you, not the perfect, flawless mask you wear for others. No, it's time to reveal the cool one, the passionate one, the imperfect one that is totally you without artifice or walls. Yes, you will be exposed and vulnerable for a time, but it will so be worth it. This is the only way you will know the true closeness with others, and you will also be close to spirit and to us. There is an amazing freedom that comes when you let go and just be yourself with another or a group. Release from the invisible bindings that keep you from intimacy. It's truly empowering. So may we support you wholeheartedly in this choice. You will know yourself better, and we hope you learn to love yourself as much as we do. Life is about who we are with others, so share it. You will be so glad you did. I love this message, especially right now, right? Because I wasn't pulling cards much of this call and added a few at the end. And it even is confirming for me, right? Like, again, like I said, I don't need the cards. The cards are a tool. What I need is to simply be my most authentic self. Because even what I shared moments ago about my relationship to God and my experience and my beliefs, that's not something I can just read somewhere. That is me. That is me. That is my most authentic self. So the more authentic we can be, the more truthful we can be, the more honest we can be, the more we can create the space for others to step into that honesty if that's what they also believe to be true, or if that's what they want to try on for some time. And it also creates the space for others to be like, hey, like, I don't fuck with you. And that's just as powerful too. These are both powerful things. There is no right or wrong. There is no black and white. I'm in a place in my life where I do my best every damn day to remember there is no black and white. There is simply me being me. So I hope that's what you take away today. There is no black and white. It's simply you getting to be you. If you need black and white sometimes to get to the other side of something, that's okay. I've been there. I've needed that too. And it's not to say I won't again. But at this moment in my life, it's all about less rigidity, more love, connecting with my truth, knowing that God is within me, knowing that I'm guided in every step, and knowing that the element of surprise is not only welcome, it is also invited into my life. So as I continue to close things out, as I continue to close timelines, I invite in that wants to show up. I love being in your space. Thank you for being a real one out here. Oh, love you, Giselle. I love you so much. I hope to see you in person in July. I'll let you know when I'm back in New York. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in with me early this morning. A little Sunday service, a little spiritual Sunday service. We talked about God. We talked about Jesus. We did all the things. We did spirituality. We've covered it all. Like, it doesn't have to be rigid. So what does that look like for you? What does Sunday service mean to you? For me, it typically means I'm going to Kundalini yoga at 10:30 when I'm in Miami. I'm not there. So after I close out here, I'm going to just do a little Kundalini myself, do a little breath work and meditation. So tune in to what Sunday service feels like for you and allow yourself to set up for the week ahead in that way. Thank you. You're so welcome. I don't know what quick adventure I'm about to go on, but stay tuned. I love you all. Thank you for being a part of this community. It means the fucking world to me. It truly does. If you want to dive in deeper with me week to week, the doors to the weekly glow up are open. It's essentially $22 a week, and we tune in a group format every Monday. One Monday it's at 8 p.m. Tomorrow we're at 8 p.m. We'll be doing an energy upgrade, an energy session, and then the following week it's at 12 noon and we do hot seat coaching. So it switches every week. I'm going to be adding some more stuff in, including Kundalini yoga as I finish out my certification. So if you are just wondering how you can hang with me, that is the best way right now. And it's really about you unlocking the guru in you, and me holding space and supporting you to be your own greatest healer. Just like Jesus told us we can be, I'm here to remind you, you get to be your greatest healer too. I love you. Best container. Yes. I'm so glad you're in it, Giselle. I'm hearing like bad boys for life. We ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life. Like, yes. And that is how the container truly is. Like, we have fun. This journey gets to be enjoyable. It gets to be fun. So I love having fun with you. I love getting to play. I love getting to play on Mondays with my friends. It's like being at recess like this every week. So if that's something that calls to you, send me a DM. I'll send you the info. I love you all. Have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday.